This is Rust and Magic. Welcome. I thought I would make a few videos about drawing. I so often hear people saying, oh, I can't draw. I can never learn to draw. And that's not true. Anyone can draw. You need two things. You need the will to actually want to be able to draw, and you need some time spending on actually learning a little bit how to draw. But anyone can do it, and I thought I was going to make some videos to prove that. We're going to start out by talking a little bit about perspective. Don't worry, it's going to be very simple, no weird math or anything like that. You need some very, very basic understanding of perspective to be able to draw things, and we're going to start there. So when you ask someone who say they can't draw to draw a person or something, this is usually what they're going to draw, a stick figure. And you can, of course, do much, much better than this, but you really need to want to make something better. Now, the same people that just draw this stick figure when you ask them to draw a person will usually also draw some weird stuff when you ask them to draw something in 3D, like let's say a couple of boxes in perspective. They know what perspective is, but they don't know how to apply this to a two-dimensional paper. So often, if you ask them to draw a couple of boxes or something, they're going to draw something like this here, and then another one over here, and the perspective is usually going to look weird. Now I just hand draw here, so it's going to look weird anyway, but you get the idea. They usually make something that looks very strange. So a very, very basic understanding of perspective is important. I'm not going to use any rulers or anything here. I'm just going to explain how it works. So I'm just going to draw straight lines, nothing else. Nothing weird, nothing complicated. You need a piece of paper and a pencil. That's all. A ruler might be nice, but it's not a requirement. But before we go there, let's talk about depth. That's also something that's very important to understand in pretty much anything. So let's take a photo here. I have some mountains here going away into the background. And if you look at the forward mountain here closest to us, it's very green and nice here. And that's because it is close to us. The further we go away, the more air it has to pass through. And you can see the mountain here has lost a lot of the green. It's fading away into kind of gray color. And this one far away is really gray. There's no green left at all. And that's something that happens when things move away to the horizon far away. That's something important to remember when we draw things. We're going to come back to that later, but I just wanted to mention it now because it's something that is easy to forget in the beginning. All right, perspective. 1, 2, or 3 point perspective is no big deal. It's almost the same thing. The difference is when you use 1 point perspective, all the lines disappear into the infinity. So it's basically vertical parallel lines. Let's start with an horizon here. And let's put a 1 point here as our 1 point perspective. So that's the vanishing point. All lines going into the paper is going to point at that vanishing point. That's really all there is to it. That's what perspective is. Let's make a road here, left side and the right side of our road. Nothing complicated. We've all done that before. So that's a good start. Now, let's say we want some phone electrical poles here or something. But first, let me just show you a quick little building next to it. As you can see, the lines going into the screen, we make these point to that vanishing point. And the vertical lines and the horizontal lines are the other 2 points in a 3 point perspective. We just assume they are infinitely far away, so we make them parallel. Otherwise, they would point to a vanishing point, just like we did with the lines going into the screen, okay? We make the center here, and we can draw a roof here. So as you can see, all the lines going into the screen here, they all point to the same vanishing point far away there. I'm just eyeballing here, but you get the idea. You would use a ruler to get it correct, of course. the roof here with a 1-point perspective, they should be parallel. It doesn't look that nice. I'm gonna change it a little bit. We're gonna get back to this later on. For now, let's just make it like this. I just wanted to show you a little quick what it looks like. Let's erase this one and get back to our road again. We're gonna need some electrical poles here. That should be easy, shouldn't it? First one, yeah, that's no big deal. There it is, perfect. Let's make another one. Before that, we want the same height on all of them. So I'm just gonna have something to aim for. I'm gonna change to another color here. Let's go with green, just to make a help line here, so we get all the phone electrical poles same height. Otherwise, it will look strange. So I draw a help line here from the vanishing point and to the top of the first phone pole. Now we change back to red again. And now I know that the second pole is going to have to go up to that green line to have the correct height, just like this. Still, nothing strange. Okay, very easy. Anyone can do this, right? Well, we can. And, oh, how about the third one? We know the height, but where do we going to put it? We know things get smaller with distance. That means it should be closer to the second pole. Then the second pole is from the first pole. But how do we do that? Well, let's open up a new image here. And I'm going to show this in perfect 2D. Let's make a road here. Let's make a straight line at least. Like that. Okay, this is our road from the side. Okay, we have the first phone pole there. We have the second phone pole here. And, well, the third one should be easy. I'm just going to eyeball here. You would measure, of course, but let's go with eyeballing here. That's good enough. That's the third one. It's a little bit too close, I think, but that's okay. So this is easy to do from the side. We can measure it in worst case. So this should be easy, but that doesn't help us much, does it? Well, if we take a look at this, we measure the center of the second phone pole. We draw a line from the top of the first, passing through that center point, and then we do one with the other two. Think of this as a rectangle. Now, that center point, that is where we should place the second phone pole. I didn't do a very good job, so it's not exactly there, but you get the idea. So, okay, does that help us? Not really, but let's turn this around a little bit and let's do it this way. So remove the third one. We have the two first phone poles, just like in our perspective drawing. Now I'm going to find the center of the second phone pole, which is there. I'm going to draw a diagonal line passing through that point, and where that point, hits the bottom line, that is where we should put our phone pole. Or electrical pole, sorry. So now we don't need to measure the distance between them. We can find that by that diagonal line, if you think of these three poles. We can do the same thing in perspective. Remember, this is a rectangle here. It just looks weird because it's in perspective. So if we do the same thing, we find the center point of the second phone pole, electrical pole, and we draw a line through that point from the top of the first, where that line hits this bottom line. That is where we should put our third phone pole. And we can move on with this. We can do the same thing again. If we draw a line from the top of the second pole through the center of the third, where that hits the ground, that is where we should place the fourth electrical pole. So now we have the correct distance from them, and we don't even know what it is. We haven't measured it. We don't need to. So you have to think in 2D often when you draw perspective. So that's important. But it's really, really easy once you get the hang of it. It's nothing complicated. And as you can see, you don't need any weird things or perspective rulers on a paper. Now, the perspective tools in applications like Krita drawing applications can be very useful. Absolutely. Use them when you have them. But it's nothing complicated. I'm not going to go into more complicated stuff today. But just for a quick second, let's talk about 2- and 3-point perspective. So instead of 1 point, we put 2 points on our horizon here. like this. And if we draw a box now, we just replace the parallel lines before on the left side with lines pointing and converging to that second point. So like this. And then the other side go to the first vanishing point. That's really all there is to it. That's the only difference. Before we made these lines parallel, we don't do that anymore. There's really no other difference than that. So here we have our box with 2-point perspective. Very quick and easy. 3-point perspective, you normally don't use that. You use it when when you're looking up or down. If you look straight ahead, use 1 or 2-point perspective normally. But if you look up or down, you may want to use a 3-point perspective. So I'm going to put a third point up here. I'm going to draw our box again, something like this here. Maybe... yeah, okay. Let's move the third point. This is going to look weird, so let's ignore this one. Let's put it over here instead. That's our third perspective point. Okay. So we have the box here. We draw the side pointing to the third point there, and same thing with the left side. And the other side there is going to up there, this one going down there, and then the right side is going up there, and the one from the third. So as you can see, it looks weird when we have the points very close to each other. Usually you want to have them much further away, usually outside the paper. Otherwise you get very extreme perspectives like this, but you get the idea. So as you can see, there's very little difference between 1, 2, and 3-point perspective. Once you understand 1-point perspective, you will understand the other ones. It's really this simple. That's all you need to know about it. Okay, that's really all. Let's just, for a very quick moment, take a look at circles. I'm not going to talk about it much today. I just wanted to give you an idea on how to think about this, because a circle is pretty much a rectangle or a square. In this case, we're going to use a rectangle on top here. I just have that there, so let's go with that. A circle in perspective becomes an oval. It's really that simple. But just to give you a hint on how to do it, we just find, we want to draw a circle or an ellipse inside this rectangle. So the quickest idea is to find the center of each of the 4 sides. That is where the circle is going to hit the sides, so to speak. So we can now use this to draw our circle here. We make it touch those 4 points. That's really all there is to it. So this is going to be extremely ugly. I'm freehand drawing here, but you get the idea. So the ellipse will hit these points, and that's where it's going to touch. That's how it works. It's a little bit more complicated. We're going to get into this in later videos, but for now, let's stick with that. So 1-point perspective, that's really all you need. You need a very simple, quick understanding of perspective to draw things. It's very valuable, at least. So thank you for watching.